NCIS Season 23 officially ended an era 20 years after Ziva's debut. Television rarely gets the chance to close a chapter that has been 2 decades in the making. Most long-running series evolve gradually, with cast changes happening one at a time until viewers barely notice how different the show has become. But NCIS Season 23 delivered a moment that felt far more significant. It wasn't simply another finale. It marked the symbolic end of an era that began when Ziva David first stepped into the squad room 20 years ago. When Ziva made her unforgettable debut in 2005, she instantly changed the DNA of NCIS, introduced in the aftermath of Ari Hazwari's shocking storyline. She arrived carrying impossible expectations. Replacing a beloved character is never easy, yet Ziva wasn't designed to be a copy of anyone who came before her. She was mysterious, fiercely intelligent, emotionally guarded, and one of the most formidable agents viewers had ever seen. Over the following seasons, she became one of the defining faces of the franchise. Her relationships with Gibbs, Tony, McGee, Abby, Ducky, and the rest of the team helped create what many fans still consider the golden age of NCIS. The chemistry between those characters transformed a procedural drama into something much more personal. Cases mattered, but the people solving them mattered even more. Season 23 reminds viewers just how much time has passed since those unforgettable years. The show has survived nearly every challenge imaginable. Major cast departures, changing television trends, streaming competition, and shifting audience habits have all threatened its longevity. Yet NCIS has continued reinventing itself while somehow remaining recognizable. Still, Season 23 feels different. Rather than simply introducing another mystery or another villain, the season continually reflected on legacy. Longtime fans noticed the emotional weight behind nearly every major storyline. Characters weren't just solving crimes, they were confronting what NCIS itself had become after more than 20 years. That feeling reached its peak during a season filled with enormous changes. Perhaps the most shocking development came with the loss of longtime director Leon Vance, one of the series' most enduring leaders, after Gibbs gradually stepped away from active duty. His death represented one of the biggest turning points in modern NCIS, permanently altering the leadership structure that fans had known for nearly 2 decades. TV Insider. For many viewers, Vance had become just as essential to the show's identity as Gibbs himself. His office wasn't merely another set, it represented stability. Whenever the team found itself in impossible situations, Vance was the calm voice balancing military protocol with personal loyalty. Watching the series continue without him underscored how dramatically the franchise has evolved since Ziva's earliest missions. The finale pushed that feeling even further. Instead of offering simple closure, the season ended with another dramatic cliffhanger that placed one of the team's future in serious doubt while also revisiting Vance's legacy through flashbacks involving his daughter, Kayla. The emotional storytelling emphasized memory, family, and the cost of service more than explosive action. TV Insider. That approach feels remarkably appropriate 20 years after Ziva first appeared. Ziva herself represented change. She entered NCIS during one of its earliest transitions and eventually became the emotional center of countless episodes. Her complicated romance with Tony DiNozzo became one of television's most beloved slow-burn relationships, while her father issues, Mossad past, and evolving trust in Gibbs gave the writers years of compelling material. Even after leaving the series, her presence never truly disappeared. Her surprise return years later proved just how deeply fans remained invested in her story. The revelation that she had survived stunned audiences and eventually reopened the door for Tony and Ziva's unfinished relationship. It reminded everyone that some NCIS characters never stop influencing the show, even when they're absent from the screen. Vanity Fair. Today, however, the original team exists mostly as cherished memories. Gibbs has moved on. Tony has built a new life. Ziva's story has continued beyond the flagship series. Abby departed. Ducky received an emotional farewell. Now Vance has joined the growing list of legendary characters whose absence permanently reshapes the show's identity. Season 23 acknowledges that reality instead of pretending nothing has changed. The newer generation, Parker, Torres, Knight, McGee, Palmer, and Casey, has gradually become the emotional foundation of the series. Their relationships don't attempt to recreate the Gibbs era. Instead, they offer something different while respecting everything that came before. That balance may be NCIS' greatest achievement. Very few television dramas survive long enough to experience multiple generations of fans. Even fewer manage to remain relevant after losing nearly every original lead. Yet NCIS continues doing exactly that. Some longtime viewers understandably miss the classic years featuring Gibbs, Tony, and Ziva. Online discussions frequently describe those seasons as the franchise's creative peak, while others appreciate how successfully the series has integrated its newer ensemble without abandoning its roots. Reddit. Season 23 seems to embrace both perspectives. Rather than arguing that the new cast is better or worse, it quietly recognizes that television evolves. Every era eventually gives way to another. 20 years after Ziva's arrival, the series has finally crossed a psychological milestone. The characters who once represented the future have become legends. Their influence remains visible in every briefing room conversation, every mentor-student relationship, and every difficult decision made by the current team. That's what makes Season 23 feel so meaningful. It isn't about forgetting Ziva. It's about recognizing how profoundly she and everyone from that unforgettable generation shaped what NCIS would become. The franchise now stands on the shoulders of those stories while continuing to create new ones. With Season 24 already confirmed, the journey is far from over. Fresh mysteries, new character arcs, and unresolved cliffhangers ensure that NCIS still has plenty left to explore. Good housekeeping. But no matter what happens next, Season 23 will be remembered for something much larger than a single case or shocking twist. It officially closed the chapter that began when a determined Mossad liaison named Ziva David walked through the doors of NCIS in 2005. 20 years later, her legacy still echoes through every hallway of the Navy Yard. Some eras end with a farewell. This one ended with a reminder that great characters never truly leave, they simply become part of the history that every new generation must live up to.